When someone doesn't value you, they're sending you a message, and here's the truth. How you respond to that message defines not only your relationships, but also your self-respect. Too often we give our time, our energy, and even our peace to people who don't see our worth. But you are not powerless here. You can take back control, set the tone, and protect your value. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 powerful ways to handle people who don't value you, so you stop wasting energy on the wrong people and start living with confidence, clarity, and strength. When you set clear boundaries, you're not pushing people away, you're teaching them how to treat you. Boundaries are not about building walls, they're about drawing lines that protect your time, your energy, and your peace. Too often, people who don't value us take advantage of our silence. They assume our yes is permanent, our patience is endless, and our kindness is for free. But the truth is, when you allow people to repeatedly cross the line without consequence, you're showing them exactly where the line is, and for them, it doesn't exist. Boundaries are how you communicate respect for yourself, and when you respect yourself, you invite others to respect you too. Think about the last time you felt drained in a relationship, whether personal or professional. Chances are, it wasn't because someone was stronger than you, but because you gave them access to parts of yourself without limits. Maybe you answered every late-night call, said yes to every favor, or tolerated behavior that chipped away at your confidence. At first, it might have seemed harmless, but over time, these small compromises stacked up until you realized you were giving more than you were receiving. That's not balance, that's erosion, and the first step to stopping it is deciding where your boundaries begin and end. Setting boundaries starts with clarity. You cannot enforce what you haven't defined. Ask yourself, what behavior do I find unacceptable? What drains me? What makes me feel disrespected? When you answer those questions honestly, you start building a framework for the kind of treatment you will allow. The key is to make those boundaries specific and actionable. Instead of saying, I don't like when people take advantage of me, translate it into action. I won't lend money I can't afford to lose, or I won't respond to work emails after a certain time. Boundaries are most effective when they are visible, not just imagined. But here's the hard part, boundaries will be tested. The moment you draw a line, someone will step right up to it and see if you mean it. This is where many people break because enforcing boundaries can feel uncomfortable. It means saying no when you're used to saying yes. It means disappointing people who are accustomed to getting their way. It means facing pushback, criticism, and sometimes even guilt trips. But this discomfort is temporary. The long-term reward is freedom. Every time you hold your boundary, you're telling yourself, my well-being matters. And that message builds confidence, resilience, and self-respect. The other thing to remember is that boundaries are not just about keeping people out. They're also about letting the right people in. When you have strong boundaries, you create space for relationships that are healthy, balanced, and mutually respectful. People who truly value you will not only respect your boundaries, they will honor them. They will understand that a no is not a rejection, but a sign that you know your worth. They will show up consistently without needing to cross your lines, because they see you as someone whose time and presence are valuable. And those are the kinds of people you want in your life. Setting clear boundaries is not selfish. It's self-preservation. It's recognizing that your time, your energy, and your emotional health are not unlimited resources for others to use up. Boundaries remind you, and everyone around you, that respect is not optional. It's the foundation for every healthy interaction, every strong relationship, and every step toward living with dignity and strength. When you stop overgiving to those who underappreciate, you reclaim one of the most powerful assets you have, your energy. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that if they just give a little more time, more effort, more love, more attention, then finally someone will see their worth. But the hard truth is, people who don't value you will not suddenly change just because you exhaust yourself proving that you are worthy. Overgiving doesn't earn you respect. It teaches others to expect more while giving less. It creates an imbalance where you carry the weight of the relationship while the other person coasts. We overgive for many reasons. Sometimes it comes from kindness, sometimes from insecurity, sometimes from the fear of losing someone. Maybe we want to be liked, or we believe that if we keep showing up, eventually our loyalty will be noticed. But what often happens is the opposite. The more you give without reciprocation, the less value your effort holds in their eyes. It becomes normal, expected, and unnoticed. What once was generous becomes taken for granted, and instead of gratitude, you're met with indifference. That's the cycle of overgiving. It drains you while building no real respect from the other side. Imagine pouring water into a cup with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour, it will never stay full. That's exactly what overgiving feels like when you're dealing with someone who doesn't appreciate you. You keep pouring, thinking the next time will be different, but the truth is, you're not filling them. You're emptying yourself, and the longer you do it, the more resentful and depleted you feel. That resentment builds until you start questioning why you're even in that situation at all. The key to breaking this cycle is recognizing the difference between generosity and self-sacrifice. Generosity is healthy. It's giving because you want to, not because you're trying to earn validation. Self-sacrifice, on the other hand, happens when you give at the cost of your own well-being, your time, and your self-respect. And when you do that for people who don't value you, you are teaching them that your needs don't matter. You're silently communicating that their comfort comes before your peace. That's not kindness, that's self-neglect. Pulling back from overgiving doesn't mean becoming cold or selfish. It means choosing where your energy flows. It means being intentional about who gets access to your time and effort. Ask yourself, who appreciates my presence, who shows up for me the way I show up for them, who respects my effort without expecting me to constantly prove myself. When you ask these questions honestly, you start to see the difference between people who deserve your energy and those who only drain it. Once you recognize who undervalues you, the next step is to stop feeding that cycle. That might look like saying no when you normally would have said yes. It might mean not going out of your way for someone who never reciprocates. It might even mean walking away from a dynamic where the only thing you bring to the table is effort, while the other person contributes nothing. At first, this shift feels uncomfortable because overgivers are used to their identity being tied to how much they do for others. But with time, you realize that by doing less for the wrong people, you create space for the right ones to step in. The people who truly value you don't require you to constantly prove yourself. They don't need you to drain your energy to earn their respect or affection. They meet you halfway, they notice your effort, and they give back in kind. When you stop overgiving to those who underappreciate, you begin to align yourself with relationships that are equal, balanced, and nourishing. You teach the world that your value isn't measured by how much you can give, but by the strength of who you are. When you stop chasing and instead step back to observe who shows up, you take control of the dynamic instead of surrendering it. Chasing is what happens when you give more effort to keep someone in your life than they are willing to give to stay in it. It's exhausting, and it often leaves you feeling unworthy because every move is about trying to convince someone else of your value. The truth is, when you are the one doing all the chasing, you are also the one doing all the proving. And if someone requires you to constantly prove your worth just to be in their presence, then they don't value you the way you deserve to be valued. There is power in pausing. Stepping back does not mean you don't care. It means you are willing to see reality for what it is instead of forcing it into what you wish it would be. When you stop chasing, you allow space for people to reveal who they really are. If they value you, they will make the effort to come forward, to call, to check in, to be present without you dragging them along. If they don't, then their silence becomes the answer you were too busy chasing to notice before. Many of us chase because we fear being left behind. We think, if I don't put in all this effort, they might forget me, they might move on, they might not care. But here's the reality. If someone can forget you that easily, then your chasing isn't fixing the problem, it's masking it. You cannot force someone to care. You cannot manufacture genuine respect or affection by outworking them in the relationship. And the more you chase, the less you leave room for them to step up. By always filling the gap, you hide the truth of their effort or lack of it. Think about this. If you step back and they don't show up, what did you really lose? You didn't lose someone who valued you. You lost the illusion that they did. That realization can sting, but it's also freeing. Because instead of wasting energy running after someone who was never truly invested, you now have that energy to give to people and opportunities that will actually grow with you. It's about shifting the mindset from "I need to make them see my worth" to "I'll see who recognizes my worth without me having to beg for it." Stepping back also builds strength within yourself. It teaches patience, clarity, and discipline. It forces you to stop measuring your value by someone else's response and start anchoring it in your own self-respect. The act of waiting to see who shows up is not passive, it's powerful. It means you trust yourself enough to let the wrong ones fall away so the right ones can reveal themselves. It also means you no longer confuse attention with value. Just because someone responds when chased doesn't mean they genuinely care. True care is consistent, without pressure, without conditions. This approach doesn't only apply to personal relationships, but also to professional ones. In work environments, many people chase recognition or approval from bosses or colleagues who rarely give it. They overextend, overperform, and overdeliver, thinking this will earn them respect. But often, the moment you step back, you learn who actually notices your contributions. If they value you, they acknowledge you without you needing to beg for recognition. If they don't, you see where your efforts are being wasted and can choose to redirect them somewhere better. At the heart of it, stepping back is about alignment. It's about creating space for truth to surface. It's about being brave enough to stop forcing connections that drain you and start recognizing which ones flow naturally. When you stop chasing and simply observe, you learn very quickly who belongs in your life and who doesn't. Those who truly value you will always find their way to you without needing to be pushed, reminded, or begged. Those who don't will drift away, and that's not a loss, it's clarity. Protecting your energy is one of the most important steps you can take when dealing with people who don't value you. Energy is not an infinite resource. You only have so much of it each day, and the way you use it determines the quality of your life. Yet so many of us give it away freely, especially to people who drain us, dismiss us, or leave us feeling smaller than we are. Protecting your energy means becoming intentional about where you invest it and refusing to spend it on situations or people that offer nothing in return. When someone doesn't value you, one of the most powerful choices you can make is to walk away and preserve your peace. Walking away is often misunderstood. People see it as weakness, as quitting, or as running from conflict, but walking away is strength. It's the discipline of refusing to fight battles that are not worth your time. When you walk away from someone who dismisses you, you are not losing. You are winning back your freedom. You're refusing to keep pouring into something that only drains you. Protecting your energy requires the courage to let go of people who show you through their actions that they don't deserve a front row seat in your life. There are always signs that someone is draining your energy. You feel exhausted after being around them. You feel unappreciated no matter how much you give. You notice patterns of criticism, disrespect, or indifference that make you question yourself. These are red flags, but often we ignore them because we think staying is easier than leaving. The reality is, staying costs far more than walking away ever will. Staying costs your mental clarity, your emotional stability, and your self-esteem. The more you tolerate, the more you teach yourself that being undervalued is acceptable, and it is not. Protecting your energy is about making choices that align with your self-respect. It means saying no without guilt. It means leaving conversations that turn toxic instead of trying to argue your worth. It means no longer explaining yourself to people who have already decided not to listen. It means surrounding yourself with people who elevate you instead of those who pull you down. The more you practice this, the more you realize that your peace of mind is not negotiable. And the moment you stop negotiating with it, your life begins to change. Some people will call you selfish when you start protecting your energy. They'll say you've changed, that you've become distant, that you don't care anymore. What they really mean is that they can no longer take advantage of your openness. They no longer have unrestricted access to your time and your emotional labor. But their discomfort is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to yourself, to keep your energy focused on growth, on joy, on people and experiences that make you stronger instead of weaker. The beautiful thing about protecting your energy is that it creates space for better things to enter your life. When you stop entertaining relationships that diminish you, you open the door for relationships that appreciate you. When you refuse to waste energy on constant conflict, you create more space for clarity and peace. Energy flows where attention goes, and by directing yours toward the people and places that nourish you, you shift the entire quality of your life. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you cared enough about yourself to stop allowing your energy to be wasted. It means you understand that not every battle is yours to fight, not every relationship is yours to fix, and not every person deserves your presence. Protecting your energy is not about avoiding life, it's about choosing your life on your terms. Knowing your worth is the foundation of how you allow others to treat you. The way you see yourself sets the standard for every relationship, every interaction, and every opportunity you encounter. When you know your worth, you no longer settle for crumbs of respect, attention, or affection. You stop negotiating your value with people who try to diminish it, because you recognize that your worth is not up for debate. It is not something that changes based on who approves of you or who doesn't. It is intrinsic, and when you truly embrace it, you project it in everything you do. Too many people give away their power because they don't fully recognize their own value. They tie their sense of worth to other people's opinions, seeking validation in words, gestures, or recognition that may never come. And when that validation doesn't arrive, they question themselves, wondering if they're enough. But this is where the shift has to happen. Your worth cannot be dependent on someone else's perspective. The moment you make it conditional, you give away control of your identity. Knowing your worth means holding steady, regardless of whether someone praises you or ignores you. It's about standing firm in who you are and refusing to let someone else's inability to see your value make you doubt it. One of the hardest lessons to accept is that not everyone will appreciate you, even when you're giving your best. Some people will overlook you, underestimate you, or even try to take advantage of you, but that does not decrease your worth. It only exposes their inability to recognize it. The problem is not that you are unworthy, it's that they are blind to what you bring. When you know your worth, you stop trying to convince those people to see it. Instead, you redirect your energy toward those who already do. Living with self-worth requires boundaries, confidence, and self-respect. It means you say no when something doesn't serve you. It means you walk away from dynamics where your value is dismissed. It means you stop over-explaining yourself in the hope that someone will finally understand. It means you trust yourself enough to believe that what you bring to the table is meaningful, whether others acknowledge it or not. The stronger your sense of worth, the less desperate you feel to prove it, because you already know it's there. When you embody your worth, something powerful happens. People begin to respond differently. Those who never valued you may fall away because they can no longer take advantage of your uncertainty. Those who do value you will step closer because they are drawn to the clarity and confidence you carry. Knowing your worth changes the energy you project, and that shift alters the relationships and opportunities you attract. Instead of chasing acceptance, you become the one who chooses. Instead of asking, "Am I good enough?" you begin to ask, "Is this good enough for me?" But knowing your worth also requires practice. It's not a one-time decision. It's something you affirm daily in the way you treat yourself. The way you talk to yourself, the standards you set, the boundaries you enforce, all of it reinforces your worth. If you constantly tear yourself down with negative self-talk, you weaken that foundation. But if you remind yourself daily that you are enough, that your voice matters, that your presence holds value, then you build strength from within. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes to embody it in the presence of others. Your worth is not found in what you give, what you achieve, or who validates you. It is not something you earn. It is something you claim. The moment you decide to stop negotiating your value, you free yourself from the grip of people who only see you as an option. You step into a space where you no longer tolerate disrespect, where you no longer shrink to fit someone else's comfort, where you no longer settle for being almost enough. Knowing your worth is not arrogance, it is the quiet confidence of refusing to be anything less than who you truly are.